cried. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Ever seen a blind man cross the road, trying to make the other side? Ever seen a young girl growing old, trying to make herself a bride? So what becomes of you, my love?
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Pray that he's still out there, somewhere.
Thank you for joining Eating Wild Honey and Locusts with Jessica Knott, your host, and Dr. Stephen Pidgeon of Sepher Publishing. Always lovely to be with you, and I really want to thank you for your commitment to this program. All the different provisions we make through the week, you are solidly there with us, and so we want to thank you for that. So today, it's sort of introduction to what Dr. Stephen Pidgeon with his guest John Hallam will be presenting on the Thursday Stephen Pidgeon YouTube presentation, The Dig. Now, for many of us, we don't have enough information about certain things, and so I wanted to delve deeper, just give a foundation so we can understand when the presentation takes place on Thursday. And also, these facts are highly important to know right now for us to engage, to become fluent in and understand and bridge and build foundations, especially for where we are. It helps us biblically, it helps us in the world to know things that have escalated, how they have come to this point. So I thought, great. And there's a particular interest because it's to do with the Nephilim, Nimrod, the Babylonian spirit. Let me say to you before I get into that, this Saturday, 3:30 to 5:30 UK GMT time, tea time, Greenwich Mean Time. I'm quoting a program there that we have in the UK. We have our monthly Eating Wild Honey and Locusts meeting, just where we gather together. Initially, it was for UK people because we were scattered all over the place, but now other people are wanting to get involved. And then that finishes at 5:30 so that you can join in, as we all do, for Shabbat with Dr. Stephen Pidgeon. Now, he's also got a new channel, Radio Free Alaska. He did his first podcast yesterday. Absolutely a different format from any of the programming you might be used to. It was just really enjoyable, wonderful to listen to, about living in Alaska where it is much freer, but how we have to prepare ourselves and be ready, because if you're not ready, you're not prepared and you won't cope. But actually using where he is to show us how we should prepare. And although we live in a free world, we are controlled. And different things like that. There's so many things spoke out, but the presentation and the way he speaks, the way he presents it, it's very calming and just, I can't praise it enough. It's just a really different format and wonderful. So please see it there on the, as it comes up on the screen, and you have to download the Telegram app so that you can watch it, because it's an uncensored platform, so that we don't get suppression like we do on all the other places. If he's able to post it to YouTube, he will, but we never know until the end of the programming if that's going to be possible or not. So please look out for both those messages. Now, you know, this is about the spirit of Nimrod, the spirit of Babylon today. Revelation 18 verse 2 says this, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babel the great has fallen, is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul ruach." Verse 3 goes on, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." You see, Babylon is that great spirit over the world, and that's what we are told to come out of her, and it's a choice to come out of her. I was reminded by Shane today, Jeremiah says to remove the precious stones from the vile stones, and that's what it's all about. This is the true believer coming out of Babylon, and it's a choice. This is why we're called to come out of her, and why there is that definition of being set apart. So in today's presentation, we're going to see, to begin with, I'm focusing on the spirit of Nimrod and Babylon in this presentation you're about to see, because how it possesses the West, especially after the Second World War, which will be a big feature point in the presentation coming on Thursday. How everything after the Second World War heightened, how it escalated in rebellion, in pushing the known boundaries of the earth to the heavens through specific projects. And with Stephen, because I know he has so much knowledge, he's going to be bringing to us more on Operation Dominic, Operation Fishbowl, Operation High Jump Atlantica, Man on the Moon, and Operation Paperclip. You know, quite fascinating. Again, things that John is going to be bringing into a bigger scope as well with Dr. Pidgeon on Thursday, but falls completely in line, which is how I was feeling this morning we should be going with the programming. You know, so what I want to say to you, the invasion in Iraq, we're looking at the real reason why that happened. You know, George Bush, he made an announcement, and upon that announcement, he instigated orders, creating a coalition forces to begin striking selected targets of military importance, all to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. In his own words, George Bush says it was a broad and conceited campaign. This was on March the 19th, 2003, 1 year, actually 1.5 years after the 9/11 attack on the United States military invaded Iraq. So that was after 9/11. Strange, because Iraq had nothing to do with September 11 attacks at all. So why were they invaded? That is the question that you have to bear in mind, that you have to research and that you have to question and hold up. That was because American politicians had to find another reason to the public, to front to the public for the invasion. The reason that they came up with was weapons of mass destruction. For most of you, that's something, a factor that is not new to you. You're very, very au fait with that already. These weapons, as you know, of mass destruction were non-existent, nowhere to be found in Iraq. The intelligence on these WMDs, that's the short form name for it, it was just completely faulty, falsified, and fundamentally it just didn't warrant an invasion on that nation at all, yet it happened. Actually, the CIA director who was commissioned to release that report, he revealed that he found nothing. His actual quotes were something like, "We did not find stocks of either chemical or biological weapons, no active nuclear weapons program or evidence, nor did we judge that there once was an existence of this." There you go. It's as simple as that. Therefore, what's the real reason for the invasion upon Iraq? Well, I believe, and many of you have sought this same investigation for yourself, there is a hidden reason. You wouldn't expect American troops just to go into Iraq and target for no reason at all, but they did. Military depots you would expect them to go to, you expect them to hit, safe houses, the enemy's one, Saddam Hussein's palaces, his different quarters, headquarters, properties, and HQ. That was not the case at all. Actually, the first place the United States military actually targeted was a museum right in the heart of Babylon. Now, Babylon is most famous city for the ancient Mesopotamia, with the ruins lying right in the middle to this day, with Iraq, 50 miles southwest of Baghdad. And I know Stephen will be able to add to that. And the name derives from Babel or Bavalim, which is the Akkadian name, which means gate of God or the gates of God. You know, so you can see where this is going. Now listen to the rest of this video that I present to you so that you can get an understanding of the real reason why this invasion happened. Clinton, Bush, their involvement, their denial, the military, how they were involved or instructed for something quite different.
a Babylonian museum was given to Tom Horn, the creator of Skywatch TV, by a supposed curator from the Babylonian Museum. Now, of course, we can't just go off of one testimony for solid absolute truth, but we can look at the rest of what happened in Iraq and see that this could very well be the case, including a strange message sent to Hillary Clinton found on the Freedom of Information website talking about the tomb of Gilgamesh and where the Nephilim body is buried. I'll get to that in just a moment, but a few other articles to back up this claim. Fox News in 2015 posted, UNESCO US military did damage to the historic site of Babylon. Within the article it says that Americans handed the site back to the Iraqis 21 months after the March 2003 invasion, pointing out the fact that the US military was controlling sections of ancient Babylon. Or another article here saying US to return Gilgamesh tablet, 17,000 other artifacts taken from Iraq. This article on Al Jazeera says that it's believed the tablet was looted from an Iraqi museum in 1990 and introduced in the United States in 2007, just showing the fact that the United States has a history of stealing artifacts, especially those related to Nephilim bloodlines. Now, there's a video that surfaced in 2013 claiming to record the actual tomb, body, and some artifacts of Gilgamesh. This footage, of course, cannot be verified and very well could be fake, but I figured I would play that footage while I pull up a message that was sent to Hillary Clinton that is absolutely not fake. This message can be found on the US Department of State Freedom of Information Act website. I will leave a link to this in the description below. If you click on the top link, it pulls up a number of messages sent to government officials. I read online that this one was allegedly sent to Hillary Clinton. I guess there's no way to truly know that for sure, but this is absolutely a message that was sent in regards to the body and location of a buried Nephilim. On page 470, 6 messages up from the bottom of the page, we can see that Denitra D. Singar sent a message that reads, requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the location of the buried Nephilim. This was on December 12, 2018, and the case status for this is closed. So this message at the very least proves that the United States has an interest in locating the body and burial sites of giants and Nephilim, something that, of course, if they were ever questioned about this in public, such as happens with inquiries to the Smithsonian Museum, would say that giants and Nephilim didn't exist. Now, what would be the reason for anybody to locate or cover up the existence of the giants, the offspring of the Nephilim? Well, because there is a high likelihood that they are trying to reincarnate these entities, and when successful, these will be some of the entities that come upon the earth in the last days that cause men's heart to faint from fear of those things coming upon the earth. An obscure end times Bible passage that is rarely mentioned is in Isaiah 13, the burden against Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos saw. In Isaiah 13:3 it says, I give command and I bring them. Giants are coming to fulfill my wrath, rejoicing at the same time and insulting. Could this be the reason why the CIA is investing in so many DNA editing firms? One such firm, Colossal, who claim on the surface level's main focus is to bring back the woolly mammoth by the year 2027. Just imagine what such DNA editing firms would do if they got the bones of giants, the offspring of Nephilim, and were able to bring them back to life. I covered this more deeply in a recent video that I'll leave linked in the description. We also have claims that giants even still exist, and the military is trying to extract them as well. The Kandahar giant is an alleged 12-foot humanoid that confronted the US forces in the mountainous regions of Kandahar. We know giants existed before the flood, and even after that, there could be a possibility that a very small remnant of giants even still exists today in the earth. Much of this information and these theories have been released by the pioneers in the subject, Gen 6 Productions, L.A. Marzulli, and Skywatch TV. I recommend looking into those guys more if you're interested in the subject. So what was the real reason for the Iraqi war? Was it to find weapons of mass destruction that we really didn't have solid evidence actually even existed? Or was it to find Nephilim DNA to resurrect the giants that God will use against those who resurrect them to fulfill his wrath, as told to us in the burden against Babylon in Isaiah 13? An interesting topic and an interesting theory at the very least. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. and God bless.
About not finding WMD when you had a CIA director who said slam dunk.
No, he said slam dunk that the case, he didn't say slam dunk weapons. His point, just so you know, was that the case was a solid case. In other words, presenting the case would be a solid case to the people.
A solid case that there were WMD.
Right, that the evidence showed that he had WMD. I'm not,
right.
I mean, we're splitting hairs,
right.
but sorry.
So you see there's quite a lot, isn't it? It's all about reincarnating these entities so that if they're successful, when they're successful, these entities come upon the earth in the last days. That's one of the things. They're not going to admit that. They'll deny that. But you see evidence there through those articles, things that got released that shouldn't have come out, that this is definitely something that they're interested in. So how do you refute that? I just want to make one correction. Now, that scripture that they gave, Isaiah 13:3, they said, I give command and bring them. Giants are coming to fulfill my wrath, rejoicing at the time and insulting. I looked for that version in so many different Bibles and writings. I could not find it at all. It actually reads, I have commanded those I have prepared for battle. I have summoned my warriors to carry out my wrath, those who rejoice in my triumphs. So it's very different. I think the emphasis they were trying to bring up there is giants, but we don't want to provide any misleading information to you. So we have to double check everything. So I wanted to present that to you. The facts, weigh them up because they seem very plausible. They, you know, with everything, the different programs we've covered from Genesis 6, Nephilim pre and after flood, to now AI, all those different things, you can see how it's falling into place and all these different programs forthcoming. Even the one coming on Thursday, it will be a jigsaw puzzle and we'll put the pieces together. So with that, let's bring Dr. Pidgeon on, who will have so much to share with us, I know. Welcome, Stephen.